So, for those of you who have been playing Tears of the Kingdom, you might know of the quest where you need to find 13 stone tablets floating in the sky. I'm not going to try to get into any spoilers on that, but they tell the story of the old kingdom of Hyrule. And what's interesting about them is they're written in Middle English. So the same language that the Canterbury Tales is written in, Dream Visions, and Troilus and Cressida, among others. So anybody who's studied a little bit of Middle English knows that it kind of looks like a different language, but if you know English well enough, you can translate what it says. So I'm going to butcher, but do, two of the passages of the tablets. So here we are. Oh, let me turn off this. All right, here we are with Link. A Pilgrimage of Light. To King was late, I komme des even, so maket de quene to Sharon tals of her lond, of Sharens al gwine I glon. So, I'm surely butchered that, but basically what it translates to, the king was late to come this evening, so the queen needed to share tales of her land, of the shrines glowing green. Of early days, since Heroes funding, heva diverse monsters her Rome besieged on Aselde. Once again, I'm sorry I butchered it. So in the early days of Hyrule's founding, diverse monsters have besieged the realm on all sides. Unceasing in strifa, ter brotta to the spear focus liffen. King on queen is set tausulle to brengan scourge to enda. And something. So unceasing in strife, they brought despair to people's lives, so the king and queen set themselves to bring the scourge to an end. With mitte of lit und per, driven a buck I ben on the royal couple mare tes shins to send him away. So with might of light and power, they drove back the monsters, and the royal couple made the shrines, the ones that were glowing green, to seal them away. Tes hole selen bin yclept, sharens of light. So yclept is a really interesting word here because it's straight from Middle English, right? Most of these, like, this is what makes this so interesting to me, is like all these tablets have like super deep Middle English roots, which is interesting for like this modern video game. But they're writing something that's like 1,000 years in the past, right? 10,000 years in the past. So it's like really interesting to have like this really small, like, it's basically like the Chamberlain's Tale, right? Because it's like this one character wrote these little passages. So it could have like totally been told on like that little pilgrimage in the Canterbury Tales. So what this says, these like holy shrines have been called Shrines of Light. Grat King, Grata Quinn, thank ye, why is I, fote one, I were maiden child, sorry, that I could pes talk noon, I guess. So great king, great queen, I thank you. You fought when I was just a young woman that I could pass on this knowledge. And then we'll move on to this one. I'm only going to do these two because I think otherwise, if you haven't played the game, it might feel a little bit too much like a spoiler. But I just think it's this really interesting dynamic that exists in this game. All right, the researcher Minoru. Quinta Minoru, the king's elder sister, falls so deep in her books, switch tet share oft for it to eaten. So Quaint Minoru, the king's elder sister, falls so deeply in her books such that she often forgets to eat. For anyone who knows, quaint is a very funny word because it has been interpreted to have a sexual meaning. Now, I'm not an expert enough to say whether or not that's true, but I think here it just means like quaint. Like, I'm not sure, but I thought it was an interesting choice to use it here. In min weirde way, don I wat much I kun. But I fair haven tet it ben little avail. So in my worried way, I'm doing as much as I can, but it doesn't really help. Of lata tretteth she of constructs things did she make with her hands as vessel for spirit when body lek fallen. So of late, she's talking of constructs, things that she's made with her hands to be a vessel for her spirit when the body fails. So said she, macht she living long in spirit, just within tes construct. So she says she might live longer with her spirit housed within the construct, kind of just reiterating on that previous point. To mineru nesems to hoden ani desete, by my faith, you cannot ask truth, these words believe in. So though Minoru doesn't seem to be lying, by my faith, I cannot also see the truth in these words. Like, I cannot believe these words. It doesn't make any sense to our speaker. And all 13 of these little tablets have all these roots to Middle English, and I think that's really cool. So why do I think this is interesting? Most contemporary media doesn't call back to anything as old as Middle English, and in fact, Middle English doesn't have a ton of media. So to even expand on it in 2023, I think is a really cool thing. And for Tears of the Kingdom to do so is a neat Easter egg for anyone who's familiar with it. It brings depth to the story that very few people would recognize, but everyone can appreciate. It is such a great attention to detail for the English version of the game. Like, these tablets feel old. When you're on this quest and figuring everything out, you feel like you're doing something that's ancient, or you're finding something that's ancient. It shows that the developers care about the little details, and that's something that makes games great. We want to feel entrenched in the world. I'm curious if anybody knows in the other languages of the game if something similar exists. If you want to leave a comment down below, I'd really appreciate that. And who knows? Maybe you're an English student out there right now finding this video and you can cite a video game in your next essay. And I think that'd be really cool. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching this. I hope it was at least informational. Sorry to any of my professors that might watch this and hear me butchering Middle English. I haven't read it aloud in 3 years, so I apologize. For everyone else, please like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it very, very much. And please follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Simplexus. I'm currently playing through Tears of the Kingdom, and I think I will be indefinitely. Thank you so much. Goodbye.